Hello and welcome back to the video lecture series on Python programming. We are going to the data types in Python, and we have already covered very important data types like string, number, list, and tuple. So now we are going to go through another very important data type, dictionary. So list and tuple, as we have already seen, these are like ordered sequence of objects. I mean, unlike list and tuple, dictionary is actually an unordered sequence of object, right? What do I mean by unordered sequence of object? Like the ordering is not, I mean, we can actually have the elements positioned in any order, and we can access each of the elements not with the indices but with the keys. So there is a concept of key value pair in a dictionary. So each of the elements, there is a key and there is a corresponding value to the key, right? So each element in the dictionary comes in the form of a key value pair, right? That's why the index, which is always being used for strings or tuples or lists, they are not applicable here. We don't have any concept of, the index here, right? Rather, we have the context of the uh, key value pairs. Now, how do the key value pairs occur? So the way the dictionary is being defined is you have curly braces on two sides, right? So two sides of the variable has two curly braces, and curly braces, and within that you have multiple key value pairs. So you can have a thing like this, k1 v1, and then you have a comma to separate the element, and then you have a k2 and then colon v2, and like this you will have one more comma, and this will continue and it will end with a curly brace, right? So this is how the Python dictionary object is being defined, right? Now, when we talk about the creation of a dictionary object, what you can do is either you can create a dictionary object as a empty object. That's one way, like the same way we have done in case of lists, right? Or what you can also do is you can just simply create a dictionary object with all pre-filled values, right? And when we say pre-filled values, you mean a pre-filled set of elements, each element being a key value pair, like, right? Like for example, here we are creating a dictionary object tinydict, where the first element, the key is roll number, and it has a value of 34. Second element has the index, or rather key name, and the value is Carl Johnson. Third one has a key age, and the value is 67 number. And then the fourth element, there is a key value 4, and the value is uh, California, USA. So this is another point I want to draw your attention. You can have the keys either as strings like roll number, name, age, like this, or you can also have as a number or an integer, right? That is also possible. You can have a key which is an integer. So integer, string, or a mix of both, it is possible. Now, say for example, if I create a blank dictionary like this one, now how do I add the elements to it? Simple. Just to that dictionary object, I just keep on adding the elements where I mention the key as the index kind of. I mean, it's not an index per se, but just a identifier, and we mention the corresponding value, right? So if I now just try to print this, what will I see? Since there are two elements being added, one, this is the first element, and this is the second element, right? First element, the key is 1, the string 1, and the value is the digit 1. Second element, the key is digit 2, and the value is the string, this is element 2, right? So when I print, I will see that this is what I get. So this is as per expected. This is the first element, and this is the second element as I created. And when I have a pre-filled dictionary object created, then also I can print it very much, and here I can see the element. Now when I want to access them, how can I access them? As I told you, right? I mean, it's an unordered set of objects. So what I cannot do is I cannot use the index. So what can I use? I can use the key. Say for example, tinydict has a key name, right? So if I try to retrieve the value for that, it will get retrieved, right? Carl Johnson is the corresponding value. Then if I want to retrieve the last object, what will I do? I will again give the key. What is the key? Key is digit 4. So when I retrieve with the key digit 4, it will retrieve the string California, USA, right? If I want to retrieve all the keys, all the elements, whatever elements are there, the keys corresponding to them, if I want to retrieve that, I can just use dot keys function. So this dot keys function, and for values, I can use the dot values function, and it will retrieve the keys or the values for the different elements of the dictionary object. If I just take a look at it, the keys of the tinydict object are roll number, name, age, 4, and the values of the tinydict object are 34, Carl Johnson, 67, California, USA. So you can just see, right? That is exactly what is there in the in the tinydict object. So this is how we can navigate through the different elements, or I can access the different elements of a dictionary object, right? Now, nested dictionary, just like the nested list we have seen, I can have a dictionary object within a dictionary object, right? How can it be done? Very trivial. When I just put in the value instead of one specific value, I mention a object, another object. So either a variable, or I can just give a pre-filled object directly here. So what will happen is, so say for example, in the dict, there were two elements, 1 and this 2, right? There were two elements. I add this tinydict to that as the third element. So you will see that the third element gets added, which is basically nothing but the dictionary tinydict, right? So this is the concept of a nested dictionary. So first element was already there, second element was already there. I added this third element, which is again another dictionary object having a few keys and a few values, right? So this is the concept of a nested dictionary. Where it can be useful, say for example, I just want to define a data when the variable for holding the information of say different students. So you have student roll number, student name, and then you have student address. But student address has multiple lines, or it has multiple elements. So I can define another object called student address, where I can have different elements like student address 1, the address line 2, the zip code and stuff like that, city, those things. And I can just get it as a nested dictionary object within the original dictionary object students, right? This is the whole utility of nested dictionary, right? Now, if I want to remove the element of a particular dictionary object, how can I do that? I can again use the del function. In list also you have seen that. We cannot use that in tuple because that is immutable, but here in dictionary also you can use the del function, right? So del, and then you mention the element. So how can you mention the element? Again by the key, right? So if I want to remove the second element, which is this one, I can just call the del, and if I print it, I will see 1 is there, and then directly jumps to 3. The element 2 has been removed. Again, if I want to remove the element of a nested dictionary, right? So I want to remove this age, this element. How can I do that? By simply giving two levels of access, right? So first I access this particular object, dictionary object, and then within the dictionary object, I just access this element age, and both of them I access using the key, right? So key is extremely important in case of dictionary object. Using the key, you can access the different elements, just like the sequence ID in case of strings or tuples or lists. Now, if I want to, in one shot, if I want to clear the whole set of elements in a dictionary, I can use the dict.clear or the dictionary object.clear. That will simply eliminate all the objects and it will return a empty dictionary object, right? This is how we clear the elements of a dictionary, right? So that said, we are done with the dictionary data, data type. Now the last data type, which is the file data type. We have talked about it briefly, right? It is very trivial to access a file. You can use the inbuilt file data type of Python. And the way it is used is very simple. There are three very important functions, very crucial functions. What are these? The open function. If you want to open a particular file, say for example, if I want to open a text file, myfile.txt, again, you have to also note about the path. In case the path it is not pointing to the path, then you have to give the path specifier as a part of the text file name, right? Or the file name. So you use the open function to open the file and get it in the fl_myfile object. Then if you want to navigate through the lines, you can use the read lines function. That will give you the object, or rather the collection of objects, each of which, in the collection, each element being each of the lines of the file. Then you want to do whatever functions or whatever things that you want to do, whatever manipulations you want to do with the different lines. You do whatever. That's a function that you custom define. And then once you are done, you just kill the object by using the close function, right? So this is the file object in the file data type in the Python, right? Now, these are all the different data types of Python. We have already covered all of them. One last thing, and again, this is a little advanced topic. You may choose to ignore it and not cover it in case you don't want to get into the advanced topics of Python. In case you want to go through it, just stay tuned for the next video in this Python data type series. Okay, thank you very much.